comp here from KT Rolster. This is a pretty strong draft from them on blue side. Looking here on red side, remember it was actually score being taken advantage of by Spirit's Shyvana in that last victory. And you said something about a Thresh, a favorite of Max as well. He's going to lock it in. Kind of a strange spot to see Thresh. You look at the enemy team, you're like, who are we hooking here? Because Varus certainly isn't going to be towards the front, so a bit suspicious. Does give them more lane presence, double range in the bot side. You have to have lane presence again with a Shyvana jungle because you're not expecting her to be proactive in the early game. They have kind of just accepted the fact that Gnar will have lane advantage over the Ornn. Around level 6, Ian will have to check himself against the Azir. Interesting draft coming from MVP, and I'm not a believer in Thresh in this meta, so we'll see if Max can make one.
I was kind of hoping to see the Ornn ending up in that support role, and then maybe we see ADD pull something out like a Yasuo to go into the Gnar, but unfortunately not the case. Now I'm sad.
Again, I feel like we're always one more loss away, Achilles, from ADD going back to the Scions. That's the one I'm always ready for, because why not Scion? It's kind of the ADD special.
If he loses enough, it'll just tilt him into playing the Scion. It's
He's so good at it, and it's really good at the moment. Why not?
I don't know. MVP, they haven't made much sense as of late, Papa Smith.
Fair point.
I don't think we can analyze it too heavily.
This draft already makes a lot more sense than their two drafts on the first day that were both pretty abjectly poor. I would love to speak to the coach to understand what he was thinking, but the way it came across certainly didn't do them too many favors. More standard here. I do tend towards KT's side, but we just need to be believers of KT. They've got a big match just a few days away. This is supposed to be the start of their momentum against MVP.
All right, well, let's see if it's going to be a shutout or if MVP can make this one a bit of a tight-knit race. They certainly need that to reinstill hope in their fans. So let's go ahead, jump onto the rip for game number 1. KT Rolster versus MVP.
MVP always so well supported as Achilles adjusts his headset over there. Get it all ready. Achilles could be a long night of games. KT and SKT, we'll hope it's not. They both won a 2-0. Go start strategizing for the Telecom War next week, as I believe that's Pilot. Could be wrong. Could be ADD, actually.
I think that's ADD with the
I saw a big
Scion
scythe, so with the scythe I could be wrong. But the fans here, see some nice signs going around. A Smeb fan.
Yep.
Plenty of those.
That was all that I managed to read before they cut away, was just Smeb.
He's pretty good at League of Legends.
He is.
Lost that 1v1, the dishonorable level 1v1 against the Redemption the other day.
It was a really nice little duel that they had going on there. So
I'm going to be honest. I really want to watch more Freak of Freaks games, and because I cast all of them, I will, but I just want them now, Achilles. I'm impatient.
Upfront payment on that one.
Give me as much Freaker as possible with them in form as we get to look at the history. History here very interesting between KT and MVP, because MVP did pick up those upset victories.
Oh, look at this combo.
So this is a fake leash by Pilot and Max. You notice they are coming into lane late. Max intentionally wants to use some mana and some health. See what KT make of it, but it's going to be the fake leash to obfuscate the Shyvana pathing. Shyvana does get pretty low. It's a fast clear, but a low health clear. So just stopping there being an obvious route that you can just invade her on at her red buff, for example, if it is a blue buff leash on red side, is definitely advantage MVP right there.
So far, so good. Smart stuff from them. See how it's going to hold up. See if Score is going to buy into it, or if he sees through their little ruse. For now, it's just going to be a bit of pushing wars there in the mid lane. Same with bottom. Plenty of wave clear between both of these ADCs. Unless Max wants to get frisky with some hooks.
Varus alone has just incredible lane presence that, despite the fact that Taric might be outclassed by Thresh early, still have to give advantage to KT.
In the river. He's going to be scoring, uses the flag and drag.
Yeah, he's got his cooldowns down, so he has to back away.
Yep, Beyond's just going to go ahead and be able to pick up that Scuttle Crab.
Bot side control with a Shyvana. Anyone who plays solo queue knows that it feels like you're like 3 minutes into your laning phase and the first Drake has already died. And with it being an Infernal first spawn, bot side control is really big here for MVP. Still is that passive, if you haven't played Shyvana in a while, that she gets extra resists for every Drake that her team kills. So Infernal already good, but the fact that it gives selfish benefits, and The fact that Shyvana doesn't want to really gank pre-6 means that an early Drake is very, very possible. She also does more damage to the Drake.
We'll see how early they want to go for it. We've been seeing some really late takes on them, especially in on Wednesday for us here at OGN. Papa Smithy we were seeing around like 16 minutes for the Drakes to be taken.
Not usually Infernals, and definitely not in games with a Shyvana. But yeah, I take your point. We've had long games in general. I looked at average game times, and predictably Korea, the longest, 37 minutes 50 so far, our average game time. And Riot was worried about all the snowballing. Certainly happening in solo queue, but the green smites are back, the red smites are out, predictably, with how competitive play works, and game time's gone up accordingly.
Slow and steady to try to win the race has kind of been the pace that we've been seeing from these teams so far. MVP certainly can't really afford to try to over-accelerate a game, because while we want KT and SKT to be very successful today to set us up for a cataclysmic Pelicom War on Wednesday, I mean, at least being competitive here for MVP is a very important thing. They are the only team at a -2 scoreline right now that hasn't lost to KSV.
I mean, they're the only team that really does represent, well, we had it feels like every season you have kind of a no-hope, right? Achilles, the team that's realistically going to lose guaranteed to 7 teams. And
usually it's Kongdu Monster.
Exactly. And with Kongdu looking better, I mean, they could still free fall, of course, but Kongdu looking better, if the week ended with MVP being competitive here, then all 10 teams would have something to shout about. Watching the top side, he can still turret dive Gnar early in the game. That's what Beyond's considering.
Scores nearby. So it's just going to be Beyond jumping over the wall with a blast cone, keeping himself safe. Providing that bit of advanced vision there for ADD, who so far is holding his own rather well in that matchup. Smeb still hasn't backed yet. ADD was able to do so, but he's keeping within about 5-6 CS at the moment, so not too bad for that Ornn. Once we start seeing the Black Cleaver and the Frozen Mallet come through, however, that's when things could take a bit of a dive for him.
We have to take a break from talking about the game to do our bookkeeping. We have to check our stopwatches, Achilles. You know how this works. Got 2 on the side of KT as the hook comes through.
Lada's still going to be pretty tanky in general there with the Taric, so.
We're below 50%. We're at 4 here in terms of stopwatches. Definitely less inspiration tree than we're used to.
I welcome it.
I don't know. The free boots, the stopwatches can extend games, unfortunately, but can lead to sick outplays as well.
Sure. Also just have to always be reminded somebody has that Zhonya's ready to go. ADD, though, going to get jumped on. Ultimate comes through from Smeb. Just trying to harass him out of the lane. Knows that he doesn't have the TP anymore. And actually, we might just be seeing the dive in onto the Ornn. He's not level 6 yet. ADD.
Top lane party.
Around the backside. Score coming through. Doesn't have the Cataclysm. All the Forge God is going to come through, but he's going to get interrupted. Can't redirect it. Pawn with the Nether Grasp will lock him in, and that's going to be the first blood going through for KT.
Yeah, good timing from Pawn, both on the roam and also using his ult to stop there being a knock-up effect. The second part of the Ornn ultimate. Well done there. On the side of KT, had all the control on the top side. You'll notice deep blue vision put down in a control ward, also spotting for the counter gank. So very, very clean stuff. This is the KT Rolster story. They were always known for getting a good start and then running away with the game. And first place overall in LCK Summer, 26-6, when they could pick up first blood.
It's always trying to come in from behind was where KT was failing. So pretty nice win right there with the first blood. We'll see if that's going to carry over into 2018.
I will say that in Kesper Cup, they were able to come from behind quite a few times, which was a bit of a change for them. Was another reason why I was a bit more optimistic with them coming into the season, but hold that thought.
Ian going forward. Stopwatch is there to save Pawn. The hook not going to connect, so it's just going to be the flash forward there with a play from Max as so they can lock him in. And Beyond will be able to finish him off at the end. MVP putting 1 on the board.
And that's what happens when you control the top side of Achilles. You have to give up the pressure somewhere. The bot side was run by MVP, and on when the flash available dies. And we talked about how this was the prep MVP wanted, finding a way to get the Infernal, get the Shyvana going, and getting the Drake spawns going. Score gives up on looking for any, so still knows it's going to be a one-way trip to the Death Chamber, and Shyvana picks up the first Infernal.
Yep, just be sending himself to his own doom if he was going to go over that wall, because it doesn't have a Cataclysm, so can't even lay that down, try to flash away to get himself out to safety, so just has to surrender it. So 7.5 minutes in, we see that Infernal go over the MVP. Will be an Ocean Drake to follow up next.
It's kind of a...
Normally, like we said, we would see that probably ignored, but because of the Shyvana there in the game, it's a very real possibility we see that one taken on cooldown.
Gotta admit, there's something amusing about the passage of play just there, because it feels like a bit of a metaphor for KT Rolster as a team. Since this lineup came together in 2017, they know where they're strong, but they didn't know where they were weak. So felt down in kind of a predictable fashion in the bot side, and the Infernal was the cherry on top there. It's a slight advantage for MVP early game.
Top lane, you can see, starting to spill over into Smeb's favor. After that first blood kill coming through, he's got the Phage completed, the Kindle Gem. And it's starting to run away a little bit more as far as the CS is concerned. So maybe to see Beyond pay a bit of a visitation there to the top side of the map to try to shut down that Gnar where he can.
I mean, it's so hard there. Look how much vision there is right now. 3 control wards in a triangle around the top side. The only red vision will be taken out. He'll need to answer some of that vision because Smeb basically free as a anything to just push forward. He can even use the hop aggressively there to keep harassment up on ADD.
Heavy punishment coming through. Beyond maybe looking to pick on Pawn here yet again. Waiting in the wings. Ultimate's ready to go, but let's see Pawn is playing as far back as he can. Throwing out the cube, peels right back.
Good timing there from MVP. You can see that Pawn, even with Unsealed Spellbook, doesn't quite have his flash up yet. Have it very shortly. Once you get about to level 7, maybe 8, get 2 points in your queue, you can do quite a lot of non-committal farming from out of range, either minion wave when one of the minions falls low, and go from there, so he can afford to kind of push and back away. Does mean he has no control in mid lane, though.
It sounds like Malzahar, non-committal farming.
I mean, pre-6 it's actually pretty painful laning, but yeah, it does get non-interactive. When you get enough points in your queue.
Spread the Malefic Visions, silence everything, and watch him die.
KT, they just want to extend laning phase bot lane. Talked a couple of times about why Varus is right up there with the kind of permaban trio of Kog'Maw, Ezreal, and Kalista. Basically, Rageblade Varus is right back in the meta because laning phase is so long with double Relic Shield, Overheal, and all the healing from Fleet Footwork, etc., that you can just go for what is a very difficult build path into the Rageblade, the recipe, the 850 gold on the Blasting Wand. You won't be punished because everyone's laning at full health with tank supports, and then you'll just come to lane with a Rageblade, and no one took advantage of it with serrated Dirks and other kind of itemization, so that's why we see so much Varus. Gets away with the greedy build.
It's coming down here around the Rift Herald pit. The fighting over vision for that. We can see a very big swap over for Max and Pilot as they shift over to that top side of the map. Just trying to alleviate a bit of that pressure here for ADD.
Gets them out of lane. Probably going to mean at the cost of first brick, as you saw the pings there. ADD doesn't have teleport to teleport bot line.
And turn already down to about half HP, and ADD still a ways away, so it seems like Deft and Mana will be able to finish this one off and maintain that lead. Beyond in the meantime.
Yeah, this is what's going to happen. This is the trade they kind of give up here, but Smeb's going to at least make him accountable.
He's going to try to punish where he can. On his lonesome, but Ian starting the roam up the river. Hits coming through as the Rift Herald goes lower. Turret now finished off down bot. Goes in, Max looking for the hook. Emperor's Divide not going to connect, nor will the hook yet again.
That was a sick hop, actually, from Smeb, and they're still here.
Combo being missed for the second time in a row. Score is in the vicinity, does want to go for the steal. He's going to walk in, but he just can't get it beyond, able to take it away. Nethergrass comes through right as he picks up the trinket, and he will die. So they get the Rift Herald, but they pay for it with the life of their jungler.
And Deft is pretty overextended here. We might actually see the 1v1 attempt.
Charge coming through. He's going to get the pop-up. Deft just trying to get out of there. Still has the heal. Burns that one out. Flash available. One more hit would do it. Charge forward, the flash away. Deft trying to get himself out the safety to the flash in. Gets a slow up, and ADD just smacks him down with the auto attack for the solo kill.
Not the best map understanding there from Deft. He's kind of been guilty of this a few times. You remember his Jhin in around playoff times, letting down KT a bit. Had no need to be so far up the map, and even though ADD had changed his Ignite to teleport with the Unsealed Spellbook, they will get the mid lane turret, but an unnecessary death greeting for farm from Deft.
Greeting for farm when he's already 30 ahead of his lane opponent in Pilot.
He'll tell his team he needed that extra money for a control water to finish his boots, but unnecessary mistake, the sort of mistake that you can't make against the best teams. May get away with it here, but very unnecessary from Deft.
More decisions. Mana, he's going to get stopped up here. Has to burn the flash just to jump over the wall, gets himself out to safety. Herald now going to be summoned here into the mid lane. This turret hasn't taken much of a beating, so the charge It's going to take off a significant chunk, but it's not going to put it into finishing, into a position to be finished, rather. As KT looks like they're going to be trying to just hard commit to defending this.
A lot happening. Drake also spawning very soon. So MVP want to keep stacking that, take it off spawn, buff up their Shyvana and also their eventual Elder Dragon. Varus had already walked top much earlier, so no AD carry is going to be present here. Always makes the fights a little bit different.
Red buff just going to get taken away. Smeb poking where he can.
Come on, Dev.
That's about it.
Don't greed this time.
He's spotted out in the ward. Lada still a ways away, and you said Ocean Drake coming up there pretty much right on the clock.
This time KT read it pretty well. They know Max's top side.
Take the Lantern Pilot. Oh, Pilot, you fool. Hook not going to go in to get the connection, so he has to flash and jump to the side. And now KT going to be looking to maybe take out this turret. Wave through from ADD, still going to be pretty strong. Forge God coming through, but he's going to die before he can even redirect it. And KT are just going to be able to knock this one down anyway.
It feels like MVP were completely off base there. ADD teleporting onto the turret, whereas the rest of the team were backing away. He completes his teleport and dies. Having some sloppy stuff here in our first game of the night.
It was really weird. It's all of that.
Could have just canceled the teleport at literally any moment.
I canceled TP. Pilot should have taken the Lantern sooner. It was just a lot of little micro mistakes there that kind of add up in the end. A bit of damage onto that mid-tier one from Beyond as he just was trying to bring something back. Almost knocked down the turret, but it's about as close as they got, so still going to be 2-0 in favor of KT in that regard, and that's helping stretch their gold lead to about 3,000.
Let's talk about what the team should be doing in this case. They're kind of mismanaging a little bit. When you have Rageblade Varus this early, you basically win any skirmish of any size from, say, 1v1 to 5v5, because Varus is just incredibly powerful right now. So you just play around him. You ward around him, you take turrets. That's what KT were doing, kind of giving up the bot side, and MVP could have taken Drake and everything on the bot side very healthily. This game has been kind of vertically separated in that KT have controlled the top side of the map for the majority, and MVP the bot side. But instead, Pilot and Max were getting a bit frisky, trying to get a pick in an area where they weren't strong, and then the teleport was completed in an area where they were very, very weak, and everyone was backing away. But like MVP kind of could have just taken the advantages elsewhere, which is what they'd set up. They had their jungler pushing the mid lane turret as a melee champion. Instead, completing the teleport tells you that MVP got greedy and thought, well, we could defend this as well, when in reality, just focus where you're strong. Don't try to fix where you're weak.
Yeah, bit of a disconnect there in the shot calling, perhaps, but MVP, they're going to have to try to bounce back from this one. 3,000 gold at 16 minutes just about here into the game. Going to be a pretty solid lead for KT. See how long they can maintain that. MVP, of course, they have those dragons getting stacked up. It's going to be a Cloud on the way after that Ocean Drake. So maybe that late game dragon coming through the Elder could be a win condition, but for now it's going to be Def getting jumped on here. Gradient's going to come through, keep him nice and healthy. Ian, though, gets that Shurima shuffle in on Amada. He gets pushed back. Stacks coming through from Tristana will help take him down as Beyond finds the kill. And now he's going to walk into the brush and find Score as well as Pawn, who's roaming his way down. Just go ahead and peel away from that fight. Do not want that Nethergrass coming through to try to turn around the action.
It's just another catch onto, not Deft this time, but attempted onto Deft. Ends up being Mata. Someone had to die as MVP just look for a kill. Good thing for KT is that there's no real objective for them to pick up here. KT were doing the full court press. And when you do that, there's usually gaps in vision, and Deft and then Mata were caught out. But KT just returned to pushing, so just a single pick for MVP, no more.
Forward vision there from KT, gonna get cleared out. MVP just trying to maintain as much control as they possibly can. Waiting in the wings here, Pawn hoping for somebody to walk forward so he could throw that ultimate out, but to no avail. MVP not going to be rotating around the backside of that Baron pit at the moment.
I'm really sure Pawn should be playing the Camper Brush game right now. He's actually very low in AP. He doesn't do a lot of damage with the build. He's gone for the now common Frostwind's Claim Rush to get the most gold on the Frostfang evolution there. Doesn't have Haunting Guys, doesn't have a Merlinomicon. Very low AP numbers for Pawn at this point in the game. And it's a Cinderhawk Jarvan, so the two of them together probably don't even kill a Squishy very fast. Maybe if entirely all the CC doesn't overlap, they have enough damage, but it's not going to be that easy, actually, Achilles.
Well, we already have one QSS there. Ian has that one ready to go in the inventory. It'll be a little while longer before we see anymore on the side of MVP, but Pilot's still going to be fully expecting to see one from him eventually. But CSing hasn't been kind to him. 153 in 18 minutes, whereas Deft is currently sitting at 203, so nearly 50 ahead is the Varus.
Small little other mastery choices I guess we should talk about. Beyond, for once, does not go press the attack on Shyvana. Was explaining why Shyvana was the best abuser of that particular mastery on a recent broadcast. Just goes for fleet footwork and doesn't want to assume anything about the length of the damage done there. So very good for sustain, both in the jungle early and also sticking power in the late game. But fleet footwork on Gnar as well. So two of kind of the press the attack users you do see in competitive play, both of which moving away from that mastery and going for the kind of relative safety and the movement speed teamfight repositioning of fleet footwork.
For now, Beyond is the saving grace of MVP as it has been in the past. 2-1-0 with the Shyvana. I mean, there's a possibility that he could just hit such a stupid point with this shift that he jumps in on the depth and just absolutely annihilates him.
Not much gameplay at getting rid of a Shyvana when she hits that point, so Varus doesn't have the most options. They're going to want to try to take out the enemy front line rather than have that isolated happening. Take your point, but if Cosmic Radiance is well timed, maybe they can just turn it around. I think Tarek's a pretty good emergency button to press there, but we've seen some pretty poor Tarek ult usage recently. Secret, for example, for Kongdu was pretty woeful on that, so I kind of have to be reminded of some good Tarek play after what have I feasted on the last few days. It's like when you watch 3 bad horror movies in a row and you're like, wait, was this genre good? You know?
Yeah.
That happens.
I mean, I guess horror movies probably are the most like that. There's very few good ones that come out these days.
What have you done for me lately is an old adage, but that's what Tarek's kind of occupying in the meta for me at the moment. So KT pushing up. They've been playing the full court press this game, but can't have vision everywhere. This has largely been their playground, but they don't see Beyond. They do now.
They spotted him. The spooky ghost got him.
Pushing up through mid lane, but not really applying too much pressure. This is kind of another one of those scenarios where free farm's been given the side of MVP, but for once they're not in position for the Drake here, MVP.
Not ready to go, so it seems like that's just going to be the takeaway there from KT. So denying that potential overwhelming win condition from MVP should they be able to pick up the Elder Dragon. One less stack for them, and it's going to be another Ocean to be coming through here as the next one.
Really slow build coming from Pawn. You know, Atlas is here. He always loves to talk about power spikes. Really nothing doing yet for Pawn in this build. It's kind of just a target acquiring build where he can slow and spot people with the Frostfang, and then the Q is honestly just for the slows to allow Deft to do more damage. I mean, Deft is super powerful where Malzahar is slowing down. Now when he gets his next item, the Leandris, he'll be powerful, but for now, pretty damn weak.
The amount of AoE, CC and control that they have right now is pretty overwhelming. Pilot can get jumped on, has that stopwatch ready to go, but oh, that piercing arrow to the face. Just chunks him out, Cosmic Radiance coming down. All the Forge Gods goes through, but it's only going to be popping up the Voidlings as Beyond has that Nethergrass coming through. He goes low, has to kite back, try to keep himself alive. Jump forward, Smeb gets the double stun into the wall, up into the Flagon Dragon. That's going to be ADD going down. Sandturret comes up as Ian tries to go for the Stream of Shuffle, gets the scoop in onto score, but the Pocket Watch stopwatch is there yet again. But it only keeps him alive for so long. He'll get picked off. It's going to be a 1-for-1 thus far, as both teams just overstepping throughout the duration of that fight. The real objectives for KT to turn to. The pickoff onto ADD not going to be enough to warrant something like that Baron, especially with score going down. And now Smeb getting hooked in, tries to jump away, but the jump forward into the rocket back from Pilot, trying to get the kill, but he's not going to be able to finish him off in the end. Like Smeb maybe making a massive mistake, but he gets bailed out in the end.
No threat onto Deft in the first fight. I thought KT would win it much stronger. I thought it would be a 2 or a 3-for-0. But Ian spared the blushes of his team with a really nice use of his passive. Then the flash into the Emperor's Divide meant that Jarvan was caught in no man's land, was taken down. This is not the part of the game where MVP should be able to one-for-one against KT. This is where KT is super powerful. If Deft is free hitting, KT should win every possible fight. It starts that way. Everyone has to flash defensively or use stopwatches. The Gnar transformation was super on point from Smeb. I couldn't even see his Narbar, and then he was in the back line getting the CC. But Ian, alone, basically turns this all around, makes the 1-for-1 when KT is strong. And while it's not advantage MVP, it's a decent little moment for MVP that keeps them competitive in a mid-game that was set up for KT.
I mean, the thing is, in the last 7 minutes, the gold lead has not grown for KT. They haven't added any more turrets, and they're still just ahead by about 3,500. So not a very significant increase for KT, who want to be the team accelerating the pace of this game.
Yeah, and the only good news story for KT you could say is that at least, 2,500 gold was spent on QSSs, which kind of makes the implied combat stats a bit higher for KT. But I take your point, Achilles. KT, because they just kept playing 3 lanes, they kind of just pushed and backed and couldn't really cement vision because they were playing so many quadrants of the map. There were no big map mistakes from MVP, and KT got a Drake, canceled out a Cloud Drake, not really the biggest of prizes.
ADD getting jumped on here. Mata and Score waiting in the wings, but Smeb alone is enough to chunk him down to about half HP here. Consistent hyper procs coming through, just starting to rip that Ornn apart. And ADD, he hasn't had that great team fight presence that we've been wanting to see. The Cosmic Radiance really saving a lot of the members of KT in that last one, making that call of the Forge God pretty much useless as it just clipped the minions from Pawn.
KT trying to cement a control ward on Baron. Control ward positioning's been a pretty big topic recently. Trick in an interview with Invent Global after that frustrating 50-minute game, I believe it was, earlier against Kongdu Monster, basically said, sorry guys, control ward placement on Baron was what really stopped us from being able to close out that game. You would remember 20 minutes of turns in that game, but not twists and turns, just turns off Baron. So hopefully the adjustments are here. KT have been pretty good on the vision game, given that's Mata's calling card. Pushing up vision.
For the red buff here.
Not playing 3 lanes, as you notice.
The Smite War going to come through. Seems like Score's going to be the one walking away with a victory. Asserting his dominance.
Do like to see this from KT, though. No longer are they trying to play 3 lanes just because they're doing well in the side lanes. They're actually grouping with the Gnar. Trying to get very strong in one place, have a place of overwhelming victory rather than being vaguely strong everywhere.
Seems like this inner turret here in mid is going to be the target. ADD coming in from the side. All the Forge God does get the redirection, gets a pop up there onto Depth. Cosmic Radiance coming down right as the hook connects, and he is going to be fine. Max now just kiting his way back, trying to stay alive. Smeb had that transformation to come through. Has it on cooldown now. Just trying to chunk away where he can with the hyper procs to whittle down the members of MVP, but he is not going to be a serious backline threat for a while. Seems like KT might just kite back as a squad. Yeah, recall there for Pawn. Smeb starting to cut down, maybe down towards that bottom side of the map.
Yeah, in terms of ult for ult trades, it was the Ornn ult for the Cosmic Radiance, about the same CDR, but they got the flash from Pawn. Turret was already low, so they were going to lose that kind of whatever, but getting out the flash from Malzahar does lead to a lot more safety for both their carries. Seems like right now they want to ult Shyvana, but we already know that with the QSS, it's not going to be a possibility. Beyond is one shot short of being the Shyvana that comes out of the jungle in solo queue and just ruins your night with Frozen Mallet, and the completed Devourer. Should have it very, very soon. Has been in the jungle and not backing for a few moments. Certainly not an accelerated Shyvana, despite those 2 early kills because of the QSS clogging up the inventory in some ways.
Yeah, it's that aggression, but it's necessary because, you can have all the damage in the world, but if you're locked down by that Nether Grasp all the time, then you're not going to be able to get it off. Go ahead and get jumped on, QSS there, so they're able to go ahead and take out that control ward in the Baron pit.
Kind of a random ultimate from Pawn, but yeah, it's not the most important to really
that was
talk about.
His favorite control ward.
That's the sort of ult where you're like, okay, Sorcery Tree, is that ultimate hat on you, Pawn, now? What you doing?
It's a pretty quick cooldown at least, so doesn't have to worry about it. It's already halfway off cooldown here. So should have it up for the next fight.
Still know Leandries did finish the Morellonomicon, so decent damage from the Malzahar, but after the nerfs, patch over patch, not going to be overwhelming. Smeb in his favorite position. You always think of him and Kennen around this brush, looking to flash in and ult 5 people, but in a ward for now. AT have good vision in this area.
Shoving it forward. Yeah, that's going to be the Dazzle coming through, but Dark Passage there available from Max to just help keep Beyond alive. They know that if Beyond goes down, it's going to be an instant turn in onto the Baron for KT. And trying to put the Sand Soldiers forward. He's trying to get some damage in onto
It's already
Pawn.
started, actually.
Yeah, they do start this one off as Dep just gets
this is a fast
going
Baron,
to work on
to
that
be clear.
Baron.
Pilot's being a bit lackadaisical, shows MVP. They should know something's up. They'll find out around 4,000 health on the Baron.
Right on the way over, Control Ward goes into the back of the pit, and KT will just go ahead and peel off. So are not looking for the fight now. TP coming through from ADD. He's pretty isolated, and he's got Smeb above him.
AD's TPs this game have been pretty damn bad at killing.
I thought he was just going to walk straight back down to the bottom lane where he came from, and it's just like, okay, my job here is done.
Every
but you
time
did nothing.
Every time he shows up, I think of the Kool-Aid man. He's like, "Hey guys," on this
like
horn.
The Kool-Aid man, if he's been hanging out with Grokkas for a while.
I mean, you've seen his teleports. Do we need to say any more? Come on, AD, you can warm up. I believe in you. But hasn't hurt his team in this case.
See, this is why he needs to play the Scion. He doesn't need the TP to rely on. He can just run from place to place rather quickly.
Oh, ADD. He does things his own way, we should note. The only Scion is his most famous thing. Although, is he the best Scion in his team after Max's quadra kill on Scion?
You know? That was the moment that threw everything into question for him.
Exactly.
It's like, I need a new pocket pick.
Well, I don't know if it's Ornn, but the Ornn wasn't flexed in the end. We wondered when it was a first round on the red side.
He should start winning with some of Max's picks to get back at him. He should take the brand top, you know?
What I have learned, and this is purely from a sample size of one in solo queue, but I believe brand top does smash Alawi. So if you're having an Alawi problem, try the brand top.
Try brand top. Okay. Interesting. An interesting counter there as Beyond gets jumped on. Cataclysm going to come down from Score. Gets the trap there onto Beyond, but he's just going to go ahead and take the ultimate and the blast, killing out the safety. Smeb firing away with the boomerang there. Does chunk out the Dragon Lady quite a bit.
See what KT are trying. This has been a field of battle for multiple minutes now. Set up around the Baron. Try to get a pick. Unable to do that. KT now going for the brush camp. They do still have Malzahar ultimate. And MVP definitely don't need to face check the brush though. KT are in.
Oh, KT going to be charging forward here, looking for ADD. Nethergrass comes down. Lantern has been thrown out. If he can only get to it, but the CC chain just goes forever as Deft comes up with the kill. Now 5-4. Pilot starting to fire away, doing barely any damage to Smeb. Will even use the Buster Shot just to try to get the Gnar away.
Was around 50%. It's full now. Probably just zoning. What's KT going to do here? Do you pull the trigger? Score is quite low. Doesn't have Warmogs to keep his health up, so...
Seems like they're trying to bait this one out. Just waiting in the brush. Smeb going in, gets the stun down in onto Ian. The heal comes off, but yet again the CC lasting so long. Oh, put the Lantern into the shuffle, takes him out. He flashes away, making sure that that boomerang from Smeb cannot get him. Now the hook to deny. They'll get rid of the Gnar. MVP trading back, getting the kill onto Smeb after he hard commits, just trying to finish off the Azir.
No need for Smeb to jump in there. It's one of those things where you want to get the kill, you want to cover yourself in glory.
That was a solo queue moment for
Exactly,
Smeb.
He was already out of the fight. You do that in solo queue just to put pain into the hearts of the enemy team, but no need for that there, Smeb. Poor. When they had so much control in the area, they could have backed off to Baron, they could have gotten a shop in. Unnecessary, undisciplined, I would say, and it slows down KT again.
I mean, and this is the recurring issue with the members of KT is the lack of restraint. Deft earlier on trying to go for the CS. Smeb just wanting to go in for this.
What's the best case scenario? You kill Ian, and
then
you don't know where the enemy team is. You couldn't see them all in mid lane farming, so you're gonna die, even though you had full health. You see Smeb's face. He knows that he made a boo-boo. Also going to mean that they don't have map control for a few moments.
He smacked on his own face.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that one. But the other thing there was Shyvana cleared Baron as Beyond could just run over. Smite War. Hey!
Go for it and Score will be able to get the takeaway.
He usually loses those ones, so he feels good about that.
Yeah. Definitely a positive occurrence there. God going to go through. They get the knock up. Cosmic Radiance coming down, keeps Deft alive here for the moment, still has the flash as he tries to stay alive, but actually he's going to be the one trading back the kill, takes out Max. Ian able to get Mata in exchange on the support members so far. Smeb tries to go forward, trying to get in range to get that massive stun onto somebody on the side of MVP, but they're able to kite back successfully. ADD trying to stay alive, shield comes through, but the last hit there from Deft will take him down, a double kill for him at the end of the day. Smeb, same place, yet again, will peel back.
And they'll actually peel back onto the Baron. No Mata, but they're still pretty healthy, all things considered. Deft took all the damage, but Cosmic Radiance stopped him from going into his Guardian Angel. He kept going forward. Baron at 4,000. Beyond's here. Doesn't have ultimate.
They're trying to take this one down.
Yes,
Beyond would have to flash into the pit if he wants to go for it. It's going low. Is he going to jump in? Yes. He can't do it, and that's going to be the spite away there. First score as he secures it. Trade-off there onto Pawn as he goes down. Ian picking up the kill. But MVP suffering heavy losses. They do not get the Baron. And now they're going to have to try to stave off KT for even longer. And this gold lead has started bubbling up for KT. Now going to be about 8,000 in the lead.
So much to talk about. Really long extended fight into Baron contest. QSS up there for Malzahar to interrupt beyond. QSS did, the ultimate came through, wasn't able to get into the pit though, so even the micro CC was enough to stop the smite contest from happening. That goes to wave clear. The items continue to pile in. You see Deft now, only a Mercurial Scimitar away from having 6. That's the moment that KT were prepping for a good 10 minutes. Same thing for KSV, you'll remember. SV ended up throwing in many ways, but won the game anyway. In this case, KT, one mistake from Smeb. Eventually correct the landing. They do take the Baron, and now they can return to playing 3 lanes like they attempted to much earlier in the game.
Yeah, try to go for that full court press. So just solid takeaways there, getting the Baron from himself, denying that Ocean Drake from coming through. So MVP, they can somehow steal away or take an Elder Dragon for themselves. It's going to be that much weaker for them.
Plan here is you get all 3 minion waves past the 50% point, and if you see 4 people dogpiling for a kill in a lane, well, you're losing an inhibitor for it. So no real good decisions here. You don't need the vision control if all minion waves are pushed. There is only 2, but a lot of the members of MVP in vision for now. So Smeb, even in Meganar form, wailing away on the minion wave.
Chunking out that turret. Should be able to take that one before the members of MVP can really save the tower. Yep, just have to let it go. We'll transform back. Likely going to play a bit safer here for a while so he can get that transformation ready. Rejoin the other members of his team here in the mid lane where they're trying to siege up and go for this first inhibitor turret of the game.
Waiting for that Ornn ult to come in. It's really the only long-range initiation. Finally see it.
It's going to be tossing it out. Gets the deflection. Knocks up 3. Gets the passive taken away from Pawn there as well. Mata goes low. Almost gets taken out. Throws down the redemption. Get popped back up just a little bit, but still can't really stick around for the fight. So MVP looks like they will hold on to that turret at least for the moment.
You see
Ian to shift up and deal with Smeb.
Ian was definitely caught in 2 minds. There was that thought of the big Azir Sextrema shuffle style play. Didn't take it. No Cosmic Radiance used either though.
Yeah, Hook not going to connect. Score going forward with the shortest flag and drag I've seen. Want to go in for the Cataclysm, however, just trying to poke down this inhibitor where they can. Depth throws out the Chain of Corruption. Ian immediately going to QSS that one off. And that will be the inhibitor falling here. Relatively safe play for KT. Methodical and by the book. They take down that inhib. They just continue to stretch that lead and add up with the pressure. 38 seconds remaining on that Baron. That looks like they're going to be going for a second one here.
The gameplay's so simple with the Baron buff up. And it takes something amazing from Ian, I think, to turn this around.
Depth's going low, so has that GA ready to go. Lana going to be the only one that gets popped up. Just a crit there from Pilot. Chunks him out a bit, but the sustain is still going to be very present for KT. They are still
no threat
on
now.
This warpath.
The Ornn ultimate's down, so they can walk up.
Nars pinching in from below. Halfway there on that Narbar. Nethergrath down in onto ADD. He's going to get popped. The step finds another kill in this game. Score goes low. Cosmic Radiance comes through just in time to keep him alive. Buster shot in onto Smeb. Keeps him away, but a double kill comes through as Max gets finished off. ADD and the Thresh both now being taken out, and KT might just try to go for the victory here. They have the super creeps coming in from the mid lane. Chain of Corruption thrown down there onto Beyond, but he'll keep himself safe with the QSS. But the turrets are still under siege. The one getting ready to fall. The jump forward, looking for Pilot. He'll get chunked out, but he makes it back to the fountain successfully. Is it going to be enough with just these 3 members of MVP alive? Looks like the answer very well is going to be no, as they are focusing in on this last Nexus turret.
Yeah, the minion waves coming in. They should be able to close it here. Another Azir turret trying to delay, but still 10 seconds on the respawn.
Yeah, doesn't have the Emperor's Divide. Can't push them back. They're just in onto this Nexus now, down to half HP. Smeb going forward, gets a double wallop, and it will be finished off there. 37 minutes on the clock, KT. There was certainly some hiccups, some very poor mistakes from Deft and Smeb alike, but they were able to close it out in the end, as you would hope. But MVP giving them a bit more trouble than you would have expected.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see no one smiling on the side of KT, and the fans may think a victory is a victory, because their next fixture is the Telecom War. They can't say, all right, we got the victory.
We're ready.
We'll keep getting better and better. Give us a couple of weeks. They don't have a couple of weeks. They've got a couple of days. And the fact that they're still having those moments that unfortunately are quintessentially Neo KT